Alrighty, we got ourselves another fantastic tournament race here. We have Eldritch over here as well as Fire 1520, two of the top 12 competitors in the preliminary matches. They're facing off right now in Safe Logic. Seems like everybody's starting with Safe Logic. If this is your first time catching one of these races live, first off, thank you for joining the live stream, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. Don't forget to follow the channel while you're here. But if you happen to be watching on YouTube, youtube.com/DragonBlitzDaily, you may have seen some of the previous races. If you haven't seen the previous races, well, you should subscribe so you don't miss out. But essentially, a lot of the players have opted to start with Safe Logic as the starting seed logic, which is interesting to say the least. It's the most lengthy of all of the tournament presets. We do have 5 total tournament presets that these players can choose from. There is a picking and banning system at the start, as well as a counter picking system, since all of these matches are best 2 out of 3. So for game 1, we flip a coin to decide who bans first. The player 1 will ban 1 preset, then player 2 bans 2, and then the last player will ban 1, leaving only 1 remaining. So each player gets 2 bans, but the way that they're spread out, it's like a snake draft, if that makes sense. But yeah, right off the bat, it looks like Thunderbrand is their starting weapon, which is decent hitbox, and it seems like it has decent stats. I think Thunderbrand normally double hits, Skull Shield as well. Pretty cool cape color as well. So another thing that's important to note about Safe Logic, and I've said it for every one of these races, is that the items themselves have randomized stats. So just because that is the Thunderbrand, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has the stats of the Thunderbrand. It means that it has the attribute, so it is lightning damage. It has the sprite of the actual sword swing, and it has the hitbox of the original weapon. But the name of the weapon can be randomized under certain circumstances. Oftentimes, most enemy or item names are randomized. Not enemy names, but item names are randomized. And then item stats are randomized. So, and there's sprites as well. So just because you find a specific weapon, or the weapon that you find says that it's a Chrysogrim, for example, doesn't mean that it actually acts like the Chrysogrim. It could be anything. So these players are going to have to be on their toes to kind of like react to the items that they get, primarily by reading. This is probably the hardest preset for someone like me, being as dyslexic as I am. It's a lot harder to determine what is good and what is bad at a glance. You have to read the descriptions of the item to determine how good it actually is. And immediately we're seeing a pretty decent split between the two players. Eldritch, I think, has already done a handful of extra item checks, and that's leaving him like about 10 seconds behind, plus an extra menu. Fire, on the other hand, I think is a more comfortable, just kind of playing a little bit minimalistic. Doesn't necessarily need every single advantage. Does do this item check. This is known as the IQ check, because only those with severely high IQ go for that check. And it pays off. He does get a thrust sword. You can see by the tracker over on the side where Fire is. That tracker shows, it lights up the Claymore, which is essentially the catch-all for, hey, you just found a sword that has the ability to thrust. That's important because thrust swords do give you access to a dive kick, and dive kicks can be useful for progression both out of logic and I guess technically in logic if you have a leap stone, that kind of dive kick, but the thrust sword is quite good. Pretty standard fight here from Fire, using Tetra Spirit plus a bunch of punches is enough to clear Slogger and Gaibon damageless with 69 health, by the way. Can I get a nice in the comments of this YouTube video? And in the chat below, please, and thank you. We don't have chat on screen, but trust me, there's a lot of 69s and nices in the chat. Now, Doozy does bring up a good point. Getting a thrust sword early does give Fire access to Colosseum early and out of logic. I don't know if it's worth doing, but it'll depend on the relic found by Fire, I think. If Fire finds like Jewel of Open at Spirit Orb, the Spirit Orb location, I would probably check. Colosseum before committing to going to like all the way down to caverns or something like that. Because going to caverns is a very big commitment. Maybe even grabbing the warp while you're up there as an escape plan for when you need to leave the caverns. Because you could always warp out from the lower area. Fire finally taking a look at his inventory. Talwar seems to be pretty decent. 46 damage. Basic sword. That's fine. Ooh, okay. Spike Breaker is found early. We'll see if Eldritch ends up accidentally skipping this by not seeing an item. But he does know, yep, to go down. Damascus Sword drop. That could be good. We don't know yet. Yeah, both of these players do know that just because you don't see a relic through the stairs doesn't mean that there's nothing there, because items spawn on the little lip on the other side. So if you see nothing there, it is always worth checking. The only time you peek through the stairs and don't actually go to that location is if you find something that is guaranteed to be junk. So this is round 1 of the... This is still part of the first round of tournament matches. I believe this is the last match to be started from round 1, if I'm not mistaken. The winner of this goes on to play against Jupiter Climb. Jupiter Climb did get a bye by ending up being first seed in the tournament prelims. So... Also important to note that both Fire and Eldritch are just moving on to the outer wall. Fire doesn't want to mess with some out-of-logic shenanigans too early, which is fine. I think it's not a terrible idea, because the issue with going all the way up to Colosseum is that there's no indication that that's a good play yet. You don't have the information. Like, for example, if Fire had found Leapstone, that kind of indicates that going to Colosseum is a good idea. I think if you find Jewel of Open, it's also a good idea to go up there to grab the warp. So that way you have an escape plan. But Fire also getting shot in the face by a bunch of fireballs. Yeah, the only way that this thrust sword matters now is 2 cases. One, where Fire is able to do the crazy, stupid speedrun logic thrust sword dive kick to get to Fairy Card, which is possible, or if the thrust sword gives him flight because he finds gravity boots. That could be a big deal. Getting gravity boots with a thrust sword allows you to fly out of logic much earlier than if you don't have a thrust sword, because the thrust sword gives you access to a dive kick. And in this game, if you want to be able to do multiple gravity jumps and essentially fly with the gravity boots, you do need access to a dive kick. Otherwise, you can only do one grounded gravity jump and then no more afterwards. So if gravity boots is the first relic, which is, it's not impossible. Safe logic, oftentimes the first relics are, most of the time it's either Jewel of Open, Leapstone, or gravity boots on their own, because they are the relics that lead to the least amount of direct progression. And the reason for that is because Safe Logic has a minimum complexity of 9 relics. I described it last time as you can imagine that complexity is like climbing a ladder, and each rung on the ladder is an individual relic that leads to a next relic. And then you do that a couple of times. Oh, it's gravity boots. Oh, and that's in a location that is really good for Fire, because he could choose to skip library with that if he wants to. And if he was Dinner Dog, he would. But we'll see what he chooses to do, though. Wow. That is literally worst-case scenario for Eldritch. Potentially. Fire could be wasting all of his time doing flight checks, when in reality he has to do gravity boots checks instead, which are technically separate entities. Like the gravity boots checks are ones that are only locked behind small flight elevations, like just from one singular gravity jump. And Fire's doing it. Fire is skipping going to the library. This is a popular strategy, popularized by Dinner Dog, actually. Dinner Dog theorized that why go to the library if you can't full clear it? Why not save it for later when you'll be able to optimize... Wait, the Damascus sword that was a drop was a Vorpal. Slices cleanly through enemies. That's a Vorpal blade. It doesn't have great stats, but that's still a random Vorpal blade drop. Fire is getting rewarded for this particular for his decision making. The IQ check is looking like a 200 IQ check. Okay, Fire of Bad is vanilla. Okay. So yeah, this is what you have to do if you want to do multiple gravity jumps, is you have to do the gravity jump, and then you have to do the thrust attack by pressing back, forward, and then attack. You have to do it in a specific cadence so you actually get the thrust out. Then that gives you access to a dive kick, which also gives you access to multiple gravity jumps. Is Eldritch also skipping library? No, he's going to the library. Okay, so we're seeing a big route divergence first. I don't know why I thought Eldritch was skipping library. You could technically skip library with gravity boots if you wanted to, but not nearly as advised, I feel like. Another thing that's important to note, these players are often taking advantage of diagonal gravity jumps. This is an advanced technique that is not necessarily a glitch or anything like that. It's like, from my understanding, it's an intended mechanic. Or it's, the diagonal gravity jump is an intended mechanic, but the way that the players do it so consistently is through probably not it super intended means. Essentially, the idea is you press down, up, and then down forward, and then press jump. The down forward essentially gives you the forward input for the diagonal gravity jump without starting your walk animation, because you cannot gravity jump while walking. Eldritch finds nothing at Fairy Card. Fairy Card is in logic on its own. Maulblung Sword drop. We don't know what that is for Fire, but Fire's getting a lot of random drops. Eldritch, I don't think, has gotten that many. Already Fire off to a much crazier start. Has the potential for big skips. Bat card is basically nothing. Duplicator in the shop for 3K. Eldritch can't afford it. Everything else seems pretty mid, but it's hard to read quickly. There seems to be like mostly pretty mid items, yeah, from what I read. Fire's using the Vorpal Blade now. Okay. And there's essentially nothing in the library right now, so Fire is missing out on nothing. And not only that, a fun fact about the library skip itself is it gives you opportunities to find money early before you do your library trip. So if you end up only doing one library trip, you're likely to have more money by the time you do it, and that benefits Fire yet again, because Fire will have access to possibly buying the duplicator. There's always the possibility of also finding a random library card as well, so you can do your library trip more efficiently by warping there immediately with a library card. In general, library skip is a good technique. It's a good play. It's a solid strategy. The only downside is if you need something in library right away, which was less likely because of gravity boots being in the location that it is. It seems like the next progression item has to be at Coliseum, no? I think it has to be Coliseum. Or Alchemy Lab. Sorry, the Alchemy Lab locations are also possible. And Eldritch is going back to do the Alchemy Lab locations right now. Gotcha. Okay, not bad. Are all thrust attacks back, forward, plus attack? Yes. Except for technically the S-Stock. The S-Stock, its basic attack, just the normal attack button, is a thrust attack, but it's also kind of a limp thrust. It's not a real thrust that keeps your height the same way. So, Silver Ring, wasn't that purchasable in the shop? I think that's a slight buff for Eldritch. Eldritch needs to do a very precise diagonal gravity jump to make that onto the switch. Not bad. Ooh, and Fire is basically right behind Eldritch now, but Fire has already done the entirety of the keep. So, and Fire has access to the castle entrance check first, the Power of Wolf check. Man, yeah, Fire is just like so ahead from that, finding that early thrust sword. It's strange because Eldritch has been doing a lot of item checks, but didn't do the IQ check particularly. So, ooh, and that's Gas Cloud, rough. Fire also doing a decent amount of item checks. Interesting. I guess it makes sense. Like, you're missing big damage overall, so. One of the things that is rough about safe logic is because the item stats are randomized, sometimes an item that's supposed to have both a good hitbox and good damage gets randomized such that it only has one or the other. So the fact that they're using like a sword with a bad hitbox but has decent damage does mean that they're going to be having worse DPS overall compared to the possibilities of, like, you know, just a normal decent sword. So for everybody that doesn't know what the IQ check is, it's a in-joke within the randomizer community. The breakable wall at the start of Alchemy Lab as you're climbing the sections where you jump back and forth, that leads to a in this seed it led to a thrust sword. It's called the IQ check for basically making fun of people who do that check, but in this case it was very impactful. Eldritch, however, does now have access to full flight. He has Leapstone. Leapstone plus Gravity Boots is full flight. Now, the downside is Eldritch needs to now backtrack to the only flight location that matters, it seems, which is the location where Fire is at, which is Jewel of Open. They both got that Zweihander drop from 2 different bloody zombies. Let's see that Zweihander, what it is. Resembles Family Sword. What was the other one? I didn't see. It's not a thrust sword because Eldritch's screen didn't light up. His tracker. Yeah, Zweihander normally is a thrust sword in game, but again, this is the safe logic randomizer, so this item stats and item attribute, item name, all that stuff randomizes. So yeah, this is just a very tough draw for Eldritch, because I don't think he's going back to Castle Entrance anytime soon. He could technically go to Castle Entrance if he warps from All Rocks, which isn't a terrible idea. So he wouldn't necessarily be that far behind. Now, the question is, what does Fire do with Jewel of Open? Does Fire... Ooh, library card. Nice. That diamond could be a good sellable. It also could just be junk. It's random. But that library card does help. If Fire doesn't grab that library card, that could help Eldritch a lot. There's a non-zero chance that that Fire skips those checks up where Gravity Boots is, but also Fire seems to be doing a decent number of high-value checks, so that's considered a relatively high-value check because there's 3 item locations all stacked on top of each other. So I could see Fire doing that. He likely will. Let's see what's at the Coliseum. Echo of Bat. Okay. It's technically considered a progression item because with Echo of Bat and the Soul of Bat, the game considers you able to check the Spike Breaker location. However, these players already have the Spike Breaker, so they can check it out of logic. But it does mean that Soul of Bat right now unlocks the Spike Breaker location, especially for Fire, who already has the Jewel of Open. Eldritch will likely find the Jewel of Open soon. I'm hoping Eldritch warps to Entrance here with maybe a save split. He's going to open the warp at the very least because it's a high-value warp to open. And I don't see him going all the way to... Oh, he's going to go all the way to Sword Card? Wow. I usually don't see this play happen very often. Sword Card is kind of out of the way. You cannot fight All Rocks yet because you need a transformation. It's possible that Eldritch forgot. That's something that happens to me all the time. I just forget that you need a transformation to fight All Rocks. So if that's the case, that's pretty rough for Eldritch because this is just going to end up being suboptimal because of that. I imagine Fire likely won't be checking All Rocks or Sword Card, especially because he already... Well, that is quite interesting. Does Fire grab the library card here? Yes. So Fire's going to grab the library card, which probably means he's fine. And he's probably going to find that duplicator as well. I was going to say Eldritch has the advantage if he is the first, if he's the only person that gets infinite library cards. Infinite library cards is a big advantage compared to only having one, because you can completely route things very differently with multiple library cards. So and Eldritch finds, okay, possibly the rando ring. That's my guess. Oh, and Eldritch is going to do the clockwise route. Yeah, he's not finding that Jewel of Open anytime soon. That's rough. Does that work? Wow, I didn't know that Monster Vials can break that. Learned something new. Thank you, Eldritch, for showing me that. Yeah, I'm pretty confident Fire is going to either find that duplicator, or we'll just have the duplicator later. The only downside is if Fire doesn't find that duplicator right now, and Fire ends up using that library card, that means Fire misses out on infinite library cards. So that could still be a big benefit for Eldritch, especially if they need to come back to the first castle later. So what does Fire do here? My guess is Fire's going to open the warp and then go to Caverns. Turn around, go to Caverns from here. I don't see Fire going up to check. Yeah, Fire's going to go to Caverns. That makes sense. That's the play I would do as well. Because, like, checking one flight location that's kind of, like, out of the way and kind of random doesn't make a lot of sense right now, especially because you already have Jewel of Open. Because you have Jewel of Open, the seed is kind of telling you, like, hey, you should go to the Caverns. That's the place that's unlocked by Jewel of Open. So your next progression item is likely there. So, yeah, if Fire uses his library card in a bad way, and it opens up the route for Eldritch to do multiple library cards, that could be good for Eldritch in the end. I don't know if it's good enough to make up for this lead, though. It's possible. There is a world, especially depending on how the end of the seed pans out. Because we're still in the early game. All things considered, Safe Logic seeds are kind of messed up because Fire's on layer 4 out of 9. So he's still technically in the early, maybe mid-game, technically, so... Yeah, you are right. Fire is honestly taking a lot of damage at it. Putting on the Spike Breaker could be a decent idea, just to mitigate how much damage you take randomly. But... yeah, Eldritch is probably going to go all the way to Fire of Bat. Because he's probably committed to doing the full clockwise route. Which is generally a decent idea to getting a lot of checks done quickly. Like, Eldritch is technically doing the right play. He's doing a lot of flight location checks as quickly as possible. It just sucks because the only flight location check that actually matters is castle entrance, and it's going to be the last one he checks. So, it's really just kind of a unfortunate. If you really wanted to meme, you could be like Lamau's skill issue, I guess. But yeah, it's really just kind of the luck of when he found flight, right? The only reason Fire found Jewel of Open when he did is because he already had the thrust sword. And he already had early flight because of it. Where otherwise, I think Fire would be taking basically the same route as Eldritch otherwise. I think Fire and Eldritch would essentially be like sharing the same route or a similar route. I can see Fire maybe doing a thing where he like safe splits entrance after finding Leapstone, but that's like big brain play. Yeah, it's a true 50-50 for Eldritch. Oh, he's trying to get the retro achievement for dive kicking off of every candle. He misses. Unfortunate. Yeah, no, that's a tricky retro achievement, Eldritch. I don't blame you. That one took me a few tries. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you should watch the live stream, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz. If you don't know what a retro achievement is, check out the live stream. We have fun there, I promise. I don't want to spoil anything for the later YouTube viewing audience. Yo! Is that the Holy J? My favorite. Yeah, Eldritch is going to be going to castle entrance now. He knows. Oh, and it's like the long warp cycle too. That's the main reason why I thought doing the warp at Alrox's quarters was smart, because not only does it give you another check relatively quickly that isn't sword card, it also is on the warp cycle. So the way that the warp cycle works in this game is that the warps like circle around the castle in a counterclockwise motion. So the idea is you'll start at like Castle Keep, and then you'll go to Alrox's quarters, then you'll go to Entrance, then you'll go to the mines, then you'll go to Outer Wall, and then you'll end up back at Castle Keep. So keeping the warp cycle in mind for different routes matters a lot, because each warp animation is about like 8 seconds or something like that. It's a decently long animation. Plus the time it takes to like go into the warp room and then leave, stuff like that. Yeah, Fire doesn't want to leave any stone unturned here currently, which makes sense. 0 Vlad relics found so far, so like there's not really a good reason to attempt to skip this, I feel like. Also, no progression items found in the caverns yet, so even if this is nothing, it's not like the end of the world. I feel like that, especially if Fire did a save split. I feel like not doing the save split there, it ends up not mattering much. I think it only saves like maybe 10 seconds, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't save as much time as you would think. Either way. Okay, so Eldritch is likely just going to go straight to the caverns now, actually, yeah. It's a shame that Eldritch can't go to the caverns from the other side. You know what I mean? We should replace all of the one-way switches with blue doors. Would that be a good preset? Perhaps? Like all... Oh my god, Eldritch, where is your health? Wait, what? Another library card for Fire? Oh, it's over then. Yeah, no. Fire doesn't have to worry about using too many library cards. Wow. Was it just there? Or was it like a random drop? Where do you get it? Under the bridge? At the bridge? Yeah. Yep. Well, that's kind of GG's for Eldritch. Because he's like probably like 4 minutes behind at this point. The only upside is he's already done all rocks. Oh. Okay. That's the progression item, I think. Yeah, it has to be. So the next progression location is going to be glasses. The only downside for Fire is Fire hasn't gotten the gold ring yet. Eldritch has, because it's at Sword Card. And Sword Card is like, it's just a feels bad location. You don't want to go to Sword Card knowing that you're going to have to maybe come back later to fight Alrox, because you don't have a transformation to fight Alrox right away. So Fire's going to need to go to Sword Card, and that pretty much guarantees that the next progression item is going to be... oh, that's a Mana Prism as well for Fire. So Fire has access to 2 library cards. I think he has enough money to buy the duplicator probably at this point. And a Mana Prism. So this is looking like a pretty chill seed for Fire right now. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't see a way, unless Fire dies. I mean, he doesn't have the duplicator yet, so he doesn't have, like, infinite heals yet. But even then, I doubt it. We've been having a lot of safe logic seeds without too much pain, it feels like. I feel like Eldritch is going through a little bit of pain, but that's mostly just due to getting a little unlucky with routing. But this isn't too bad, you know? Gravity Boots into Leapstone into Jewel of Open. That's pretty standard, you know? Yeah, if Fire gets grounded from his mom, that is kind of a big deal. Yeah, you're right. That could lead to a huge potential for Eldritch to come back. Okay, that's a random Vlad. Our first random Vlad found by Fire. Let's go ahead and tune in and see how it's going for Fire. Listen to that good old soundtrack. Lots of Alucard grunting noises. Yeah, the ring was the progression for Caverns, yes. And the other ring was the rando ring, which makes sense. It was just flight locked, so. Eldritch still Vile stacking his way through the bosses. I mean, at the very least, he has access to that. Yeah, obviously these seeds are slow compared to yesterday, but yesterday we had 2 unicorn seeds back-to-back with all Vlad relics in the first castle. Like, Spikebreaker was the out-of-logic last Vlad in both of those seeds yesterday, so we'll see if what we find here at Spikebreaker. Fire is like 99% going to use a library card after this, so it'll be interesting to see what he finds here. Uh-oh, Eldritch. Okay, and he's back. A little bit of a desync. And what do we find but yet another Vlad relic? Final Vlad found yet again. Uh-oh, Fire doesn't know where his library cards are. There he goes. Banana. Yeah, Eldritch is probably a solid, like, 4 minutes behind still, if not more. We'll see if Eldritch decides to skip Merman. I doubt it, but it would be interesting. Oh, the diamond is vanilla.
I'm interested in this.
Oh, unless he spends all of his money too early on something. But he has so much money. He's not going to waste it. He's not going to waste it.
Thank you.
It's only 400. It's not a waste. He still has enough for the duplicator. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. There's the duplicator. Infinite library cards, infinite mana prisms.
I'm interested in this.
Might as well find Buffalo Stars. Oh, Buffalo Stars are 119 base damage too. Jeez. Those are some buff Buffalo Stars. Wow. Oh, and that's a Varda, dude! The silver ring is also a Varda. Wow. Also, Fire doesn't put a potion on for invincibility. That could bite him in the ass later, because his HP is already low. You say it's Jover. I say it's just beginning, okay? The comeback is still possible. Eldritch does have advantage on Gold and Silver Ring. He has infinite library cards as well. Fire does have to go all the way to All Rocks here. I think Fire has done everything, actually, so he's not going to get baited. My guess is glasses are vanilla, and then things get interesting from there, though. There's still potential for some skips from Eldritch. Left side, second castle is an option. I don't think it's 100% over. I think Fire has probably like an 80% chance to win from this position, but speaking of, the current prediction is about 80% in Fire's favor, so that makes sense, yeah. The prediction did close a while ago, but I think 80% makes sense here. He has like a 95% chance. You guys really underestimate left side as a gamble. Fire won. You know what? Let's call it 95. Let's say it's a 95% chance. Ow. Duplicator lowers your defense, folks. It does lower your defense. Funny, Fire finds the duplicator and passes it up because he already has one. We'll see if Eldritch has a save somewhere. I really do hope so. I mean, you can't really forfeit. No saves? Oh, come on. That's so... I mean, it's yeah, he forfeited. Well, that's very anticlimactic. We'll say it was 100% success rate for Fire. What happened? Eldritch died with 0 saves 35 minutes into the race. It's kind of Jover at that point. Like, I don't blame him. It's pretty much Jover. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let him know. I feel like you could still win from this position by doing every possible gamble, but yeah. The only thing that sucks is, like, the reason why forfeiting is so bad in this position is because, like, technically Fire could also die and not finish the seed as well. So it's like, in general, forfeiting is just like, I understand why he did it. It's like really painful to drag this out. Like, forfeiting is just, I don't think it's a great idea personally, but I understand it. Like, you can still technically win. Fire could also be struggling the same way that you are. But if you're just tilted and you just don't want to play anymore, then, like, I get it. It happens. So I'm going to go ahead and let them know that they don't need to finish the seed. And then we'll just set up for the next one. I do want to see what's down here, though. He's gonna check? Okay, please check. For curiosity's sake. Oh, and he throws away his buffalo stars. Very funny. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, kill the seed. Kill it. Kill it with fire. Burn it. Burn it to the ground. All right, let's just set up for the next one. All right, we're back with race number 2. Eldritch with the unfortunate death, which led to a forfeit, which made sense. Like, he technically could still make a comeback, but it was like a 99.99% chance that Fire just ends up winning that. So we just fast forwarded through, you know, that to just get to the next race. It makes sense. The counter pick from Eldritch is Guarded OG, which, for those that don't know, stands for Guarded Original Gangsta. So that way you guys understand that that's the Guarded refers to the locations in which relics can exist. They can be guarded by bosses. This makes sense for every other randomizer because every other randomizer is guarded in nature for the most part. But back in the day, when the randomizer first came out, season 1 of the randomizer didn't have access to all of the extra locations. Beelzebub did not have a relic check behind him. Doppelganger 40, Castlevania 3 Trio, Scylla, those bosses didn't have anything being guarded by them. So because of that, those bosses were never fought in Randomizer. So eventually it was found that it was possible to add extra item or relic locations behind extra bosses. So that's where the guarded comes from. OG refers to the original version of the Randomizer. Essentially the idea is that this is before progression items could become randomized. So because of that, the progression items are always in their vanilla locations, but all of the relics are fully randomized. We're not going to see any item stat randomization either. So all of the items are what they say on the tin. They are, so if they find Chrysogram, we know it's a Chrysogram. They both seem to have pretty terrible prologue fights, which could mean that they have bad stats for the rest of this run. However, they do seem to be one-shotting these wargs with this sword. I believe it's Werebane. So, to this day, we still don't know where Bane is, but the Werebane is it's a decent enough weapon. And honestly, right now, like, I feel like early game Eldritch is perfectly fine holding his own. Like, he doesn't make any, like, bad decisions, like, I don't know. Nothing from Eldritch's gameplay was so egregious. I feel like he did extra item checks, and then he got a little greedy not healing in that one spot that led to his death. So, like, he's definitely down to do extra item checks and kill extra items. I think from his perspective, he knows that, or at least he feels like he is maybe the weaker player. He is the lower seed between the two, so I guess that makes sense. So in his mind, he kind of needs to find something random, use the random aspect of the randomizer to his advantage to try and gain, a random drop that maybe Fire wouldn't get, stuff like that. Do extra item checks that Fire wouldn't necessarily do. So I get the understanding, but the downside is the reason why Fire is like faster isn't necessarily because he's playing better. It's because he's just not doing those same item checks, honestly. Like, execution-wise, Eldritch and Fire, for the most part, are pretty on par with each other. So, like, I really don't feel like Eldritch is necessarily, like, totally outclassed or anything like that. I think it's more of a mentality thing, if anything. That's at least my perception. Ooh, a diamond early on. Okay, nice to know that if they end up going to the shop, they'll have money. That's always nice to find. Always nice to find. I think Eldritch got a attack potion drop from that skeleton. But yeah, honestly, it's not even like movement-wise, like Eldritch is like significantly worse. I think his jumps are slightly like higher than they need to be, which does add up over the course of the alchemy lab. But other than that, it's like he's not taking more damage or anything. It's really just the item checks. No, nobody checks the secret room in the bottom of Alchemy Lab. It's way too slow. And you need a sword to open it up. So, Fire with a fantastic fight. Let's see if Eldritch is able to perform as well. Yep. Takes some damage there, but the Tetra Spirit is so powerful, it kind of doesn't matter. A little sloppy of the fight. Maybe he's a little shooken up from that last seed. I would be too. It's understandable. It's hard to completely erase the bad thoughts, the bad feelings, if you just finished a really bad preset, or a bad race, I mean. Ooh, Dark Armor found. Dark Armor's nice for Beelzebub, particularly. You can kind of sit inside of Beelzebub's body and not take damage. Not bad. Does Eldritch go for that check as well? Yep. Plus, it's just good armor early game, so if you take damage, you don't get knocked back nearly as far. Getting poison here from Eldritch kind of doesn't really matter, because your poison goes away as soon as you go through the next load zone. All right. Fire does have a pretty sizable lead. Let's go ahead and listen in on his perspective. Was that Soul of Bat? No, it was Tooth of Vlad. Holy crap. My eye saw red for a second. Maybe I could have swore I saw the color red. What the heck? I was going to say I need glasses, but... Anyways. Still, Tooth of Vlad is great. It's a plus 10 attack boost right off the bat, or strength boost, I should say. Oh, Rune Sword drop. Yo, Rune Sword's pretty good. Rune Sword's pretty good. I would call that like an A tier weapon. It has fantastic utility. You can kill things at a range, so you don't have to get up close and like possibly in dangerous situations with certain enemies. Also, it's a great weapon to just have on your offhand because it doesn't have an animation at all. You can be like punching with one hand and then throwing the Rune Sword with the other one with no animation. So you're like increasing your DPS significantly by doing that. DB is on too much drugs? What are you talking about? I'm on the perfect amount of drugs. What do you mean too much? Chat, you're crazy. YouTube, do you think I'm doing too many drugs? Let me know in the comments below. I'd argue not enough. That's all I'll say. That's what I don't want to get into a discussion. If I say more, I'll be in trouble. But I'll leave it there. Yeah, Fire is definitely extending the lead here. I think Eldritch, movement-wise, it's starting to show like tiny differences in execution. I think his backdashes are maybe a little bit less consistent. He doesn't transition from like turning around and attacking as quickly as Fire does. Fire is also cutting his jumps a little bit shorter than Eldritch. Eldritch is a little bit safer on those jump animations. So just ever so slightly edging out some extra time in every single one of these rooms, which is adding up to a pretty sizable lead. It's looking like about like 20 seconds. Which, I mean, early game 20 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but, I mean, there's not a lot of time to save in the early game. There's not much that has happened yet. And Eldritch has an extra drop that should be helping him with combat as well, so... Fire also has a lot of money now with the extra opal. Javelin and Cross Shuriken? Really? So this is a place where Eldritch could make up some time, because Fire is opting to throw his single-use items at Doppelganger. Does that even work? Doesn't he dodge those? With Power of Mist, or am I mistaking? No, he doesn't dodge those. I'm stupid. I was thinking of spells. My bad. Sorry, it's the drugs again. We'll move on. That was a very fast fight. Eldritch's fight might actually end up being slower, but he doesn't need to menu for it, so... Yeah, that was a pretty good call from Fire to speed up that fight overall, especially when you have literally nothing. I think that was the right play. I kind of like the idea of saving throwables if you can keep them for a little while, but... Yeah, 3 hits from the Rune Sword is enough. Eldritch is doing just fine. I didn't see what the relic was, but Fire is going out of his way to grab it, so it must be good. I was too busy looking at Eldritch's screen. Familiar card? Interesting. Ooh, Fire misses the jump to grab that Fury plate. I mean, it's not worth grabbing, to be honest. Ring of Fëanor, was that a random drop? No, it wasn't. Did Fire get that? Eldritch enters the library early. This is the correct play from Eldritch, by the way. Objectively, this is the correct play. Fire playing it a little safe. Eldritch, all of a sudden, with a potential lead here. If Fire has that Fëanor, why isn't he? Did he not equip it? He should be one-shotting those guys with the Fëanor, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, this is a very interesting situation here. Let's go ahead and listen in on the current lead holder here, Eldritch. Very interesting. Finds Jewel of Open. And a Masamune drop. Oh my god, Eldritch. Things are looking up. Things are looking up for Eldritch. Getting some lucky drops here. You love to see it. Masamune is like top 3 weapons in the game. It's like, it's so good. It's like Chrysogrim, Malblung with Alucard shield, and then like Masamune.
I'm interested in this.
We'll see if this ends up mattering. Power of Wolf is worth buying. Mana Prisms are super cheap. Don't buy them yet. Check the whole shop. Arcana, Pales, Joseph's Cloak. Covenant Stone is probably worth grabbing just for the extra stat buffs. Darkblade might be worth... Nah, not for Eldritch, but for Fire, Darkblade is definitely worth grabbing. 2 Covenant Stones, Darkblade.
Thank you.
If I'm Eldritch, or if I'm Fire, I'm grabbing the Darkblade, for sure. Mormagil sucks. Don't grab that. Did he buy the Mormagil? Bruh.
Thank you.
Bruh, what do you need all these mana prisms for? You don't even... What do you need 70 mana prisms for? Guys, what's going on? Why'd you get the Mormagil?
Well, for now.
Sure, whatever, man. Like, it's not worth having 10 million mana prisms when you don't even have bat yet. Mormagil sucks. It's the dark element. Dark is bad versus like half the enemies in the game. Oh, man. Yeah, I think Eldritch just played that better overall. I mean, he did get a lot of mana prisms, but he already has decent items. Oh, but he doesn't have a shield rod. Fire is making up the time just from shield dashing, actually. Never mind. Turns out, shields are good. Shield dashing is pretty good. And I guess Double Covenant Stone makes any weapon decent, for the most part. As much as I'm hating on the Mormagil, it was just suboptimal, in my opinion. It's still a fine play. It's not that bad. And Eldritch is going to end up going up to check this location now. Oh, okay. And then Fire gets the Ring of Fëanor. Okay. It's... Let's go listen in on what Fire's doing. Yeah, you know, I had a brief moment of copium hopium, but huh? Okay, Eldritch takes a swig of his drink, maybe? He just stands there? What does he do? What is he doing? Is he okay? Is his controller broken? This is usually the win con for the person who's not in the lead, is that the other person's controller starts breaking. You can't both be behind and have your controller breaking, please. Eldritch opening the elevator and then probably going down is my guess. Yeah, Fire with a pretty significant lead here. I hope it's not his controller. Puts on the Masamune and the double Covenant Stone. Fire doing some extra item checks, getting a little greedy. Those item checks are usually not very common to see from like high-level gameplay. So it's very possible that maybe Fire feels comfortable being ahead and maybe wants to do some extra item checks just to make sure. Because I don't think he necessarily feels behind. Oh, Fire, that could be a library card. Why are you skipping it? What? Huh? Does he already have one? Oh, he can't grab it. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. 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 I forgot he can't grab it yet. I apologize. See, I would have tried to make that jump like 12 times. Why is Fire's timer red? Because he's on fire. Duh. Like, come on. Like, did I really need to... Man. I actually have no idea. The competitors are allowed to, like, do whatever they want for their timers. I'm not going to judge them too much. And there is Soul of Bat. 1420, by the way. 1420 minutes into this run, we get Soul of Bat. That is quite dank, if you ask me. Yeah, this is looking like a rough proposition for Eldritch. Ooh, actually, smart decision by Fire to go up because you need to grab the... This is guaranteed to be Gold Ring, the location that he's checking. He should also go up and maybe check to see if that's a library card. That'd be my idea, personally, so... Yeah, now the Mana Prisms will pay off for sure. The only downside is Eldritch doesn't have a good, like, offhand weapon to use with his Mana Prisms. So because of that, like, his Masamune is not nearly as effective unless he wants to constantly change his menus over and over again. Damn, the Masamune just shreds, though. That was one special attack instantly killed Scylla. I know Scylla has, like, 12 HP, but still. It's cool to see. No, everything that's on the screen for the competitors is on their individual streams, and I am, like, screen grabbing it because it makes sure that their timers are synced up with their gameplay, and I don't have to do an external timer. 99 Mana Prisms, Eldritch. Really? 99. You expect to need to refill your MP 99 times. You know what? He's in the tournament, and I'm not. What can I say? He made it to the final bracket, and I didn't. I can't question the genius of these decisions. No! What are you doing? Brother, you need the gold ring! It's vanilla! You can't skip that shit! Oh, he remembered! Okay. He heard me yelling as if he's in the other room. Eldritch is actually in the other room from where I'm streaming, and I yelled so loud that he's like, oh yeah, gold ring. Oh man, this is a rough one for Eldritch. He's having a rough day, guys. You know what? Oh, it's a meal ticket for Fire. He just stands there. Fire gets the meal ticket and just... Oh my god. Eldritch has low HP. Yeah, but he's about to enter the fight with Succubus, which instantly refills your HP to full. It's like a save. It doesn't actually save the game. It would be cool if that saved the game, by the way. Like, that would make for some interesting save split opportunities where you don't have to do an extra save animation. But probably not. That's probably why they just put a normal save right next to it. Wait, Eldritch, no, if you grab the Onyx, he skipped the Onyx. If you grab the Onyx, the next time you go to the library, you can buy more mana prisms. What's on the Fenor? Interesting. I guess to increase your intelligence, that makes sense. Eldritch, with pretty high intelligence, going for a spell fight. Oh, no. Succubus ninjutsu. Okay, finding Leapstone is cool and all, but they already have Soul of Bat, so it's not that interesting. Eldritch, his HP is getting a little low. Thankfully, Soul Steel can help. Why is he not using the Root Sword? It's good. I'd recommend it. Not how I would choose to do that fight. Fire definitely had a much cleaner fight, I feel like. But yeah. Fire with a quite large lead here. Not only does he have Gold Ring already, he's going to grab Spike Breaker while he's here, because Spike Breaker is also vanilla. He has the Soul of Bat, so he'll be able to check it and grab it. All he needs is Silver Ring, and then he's like basically in go mode for the second castle, and then it comes down to where the final Vlads are. So yeah, Fire I think is just executing this like insanely well. He's playing it also pretty safe. Like, he's doing a couple of extra item checks. He's doing every relic check that comes his way. I think he's playing to his outs where he feels comfortable in his mechanical skill and his movement, where he'll be able to outmaneuver Eldritch, which so far has been true. So his only lose condition is if he skips something important. I lied. He didn't do this, did he? I'm literally lying. I'm lying on the internet. Fire didn't do this check. So Eldritch picks up a library card Fire does not have. And it's a random Vlad. I found it so funny that I made up in my mind that Eldritch was playing very thoroughly. He's gonna die! The bodies have hit the floor! Okay, never mind, he's good. Oh my god. You never let the body... I tried to explain it, but they never listen. They never listen. Mr. President, the bodies have hit the floor. Power of Mist, not Mist. Okay, if you're just gonna leave, you should still grab it. Power of Mist is great. What are you doing? Whatever. Just a minor nit. Anytime that I'm saying anything bad about Fire's play, by the way, it's a minor nitpick. It is not me trying to say that Fire is bad or that he's making bad decisions. I personally would have grabbed Power of Mist because I personally think Power of Mist is very, very nice. Ooh, another random Vlad. Wow. So Eldritch is ahead on random Vlads, which is great. In fact, every Vlad is a random Vlad in Guarded OG. I forgot to mention, one of the things that's nice about Guarded OG is there's no minimum complexity. So because of that, every Vlad relic is purely random. There's no final Vlad that the complexity is like ramping up towards. So essentially the way that Go mode works in this game is like you find Holy Glasses and then you check everything to try and find all of the Vlad relics. So oftentimes it comes down to doing the highest density of checks ends up being the winning strategy, so long as you don't miss any of the Vlad relics. Fire did skip a crucial Vlad relic that could come back to bite him. Now, there is a chance because he doesn't have a library card, however, that he's going to backtrack through the caverns, and then from the caverns, he'll go to the from the catacombs, he'll go to the mines. From the mines, he'll go back to the caverns, and then from there, he'll do the left side to check Merman Statue and then Castle Entrance and all that stuff. And he'll even get a library card if he does that route. That's probably what he's going to do. That's my guess, because I don't think he's going to use the warp to leave when that feels less... I guess you could use the warp to go to Entrance? But I don't know If Fire skips that check, that's looking very rough because he's missing out on a random Vlad and a library card. That gives a huge advantage to Eldritch if he does warp out of here. Now, the other question is, will Eldritch use his library card to leave the Spikebreaker location? Especially because Fire doesn't have Mist yet. You need Mist. Oh, he's doing it. Yeah, this is the correct play. Fire's playing really, really well here. Wow. Very interesting of him to suss this out. Because not only is he missing, obviously, multiple Vlad relics, he's missing Mist, which is in a random location. And Mist is required to get to the Silver Ring location, and the Silver Ring location is vanilla, which is how you get to the Holy Glasses. So Bat is always guaranteed to be in the first castle in Guarded OG. Same with Mist. Mist is always guaranteed to be in the first castle in Guarded OG. So you don't want to just start skipping stuff if you haven't found Bat, if you haven't found Mist. Those are like so important. So it's good of Fire to realize that skipping those checks is probably a bad idea. And his route ends up being pretty decent, I feel like, because Eldritch's best option is to use the warp to leave the catacombs or to use his library card. But I feel like that library card ends up not being as impactful as possible. Okay, Fire does go back for it. Oof. I thought for a second Fire's like, nah, it's not a library card, and just left it. That would have been very funny. I've seen people do it. Eldritch probably going to have a much easier time fighting Grand Falloon. Masamune super powered up. Just a few slashes should be enough. GG's. Fire does find that Vlad relic. It's going to be interesting from here, where my guess is he's going to do Entrance and then Alchemy Lab. That'd be what I would do. This is a pretty interesting route. I like what Fire is doing. This feels good to me. This feels like a good route. Especially considering that he skipped the location that he did. Well, I guess he technically didn't skip it. He was just saving it for later, actually. Finds another random Vlad. 3 out of the 5 are found. We know where Glasses is. We know where Silver Ring is. Reminder that the winner of this match will be facing Jupiter Climb. So as of right now, Fire does already have the advantage. He is up 1-0 in the set. Eldritch can still make this comeback, like I said. It's looking less possible now because Fire did the checks that Eldritch had already done. So I think Fire has a pretty decent advantage because of that, but... Oh, no. Eldritch taking some extra damage. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Does he have a backup for the spike room? No, 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 no. Don't do it again. Oh. He was 1 hit away from dying. Oh, my God, Eldritch. He was very close to doing the correct blind bat strat. He wasn't even that far off. A couple soul steals gets him back in line. It's not that far off. There you go. That is a great setup right there. You take advantage of the fact that you get invincibility frames. Oh, but he drops the wing smash. Gets it on the second try. He's fine. He's fine, guys. He lost time for it. But thankfully, he's not going to run out of mana prisms because earlier he bought 99. So I'm guessing he's probably around like 82 right now. So he has plenty. Thank you for that, Swarm. That's my strat. What are you talking about? When I was speedrunning Nimble, I talked about it all the time on my stream. What are you talking about? I mean, Swarm did discover it naturally on his own, but I had definitely been doing it before him. It's fine. I'm not... Swarm can have it. It's fine. Swarm can have that strat. Yeah, using the Mana Prism for iframes there is just really good, though. You know who actually discovered it first? Dragon Blitz Daily. That guy right there. He definitely found it first. Speaking of finding things first, Eldritch is first to find Mist, which is inside of the library. Wow. I did not expect that. Does this give Eldritch a possible chance to skip a bunch of stuff? Maybe. Probably not. Because he has to do Silver Ring regardless, so he's probably going to do Entrance. He's probably going to do Alchemy. Or he already did Entrance. He's probably going to do Alchemy Lab. He's probably going to do the same checks that Fire's doing. He would need to skip all of these, go straight to Silver Ring, and then get the glasses, and then go to Second Castle, I guess, in order to try and snipe the lead from Fire, and just hope that the final 2 Vlad relics are in the Second Castle. I think that's his win condition right now. Yeah, Eldritch earlier, I think, oh, Yasasuna. At least use the Yasasuna, bro. It's so good. You can shield dash with it, kind of. Yeah, earlier he said, I'm actually doing a no items randomizer challenge, spells only. So that's why Eldritch is refusing to use items. What route does he take? If you're Eldritch, do you do Fire of Bat into Castle Keep into Silver Ring? I think that's a decent idea. The only downside is he then has to go to Alrox's quarters afterwards, and then back to... well, I guess after getting Silver Ring, you just backtrack, warp to Outer Wall is your best bet afterwards? He's skipping Fire of Bat? Oh, he's doing entrance stuff. Yeah, he needed to skip this stuff. There's nothing here. Rough. I mean, I think it's objectively the correct play because it has the highest density. The only downside is Fire's already done it, and he's done it faster. So his chance of, like, skipping a bunch of stuff is not looking good. Also, nice Mormagil, by the way. He could have had a Dark Blade instead. And he would have, like, 3-shotted that boss. But hey, what do I know? I'm not in the tournament. Whatever. Man. Eldritch isn't going to skip all rocks. I don't see it. Oh, but he can't because 4 out of 5 Vlad relics in the first castle. Oof. What? Yeah, I don't see a world where Eldritch can snipe this. The only way Eldritch can snipe this. Nice Mornblade. Left side Gambit. Doing a little bit of a left side Rooney in the start of the second castle. Plus Merman statue being in the second castle. Plus the final Vlad relic being at Holy Symbol. I feel like that is like the win con for Eldritch. Otherwise, I think Fire kind of has this. Because he has a massive lead at this point. It feels like it's multiple minutes, right? Oh, wait! Fire can't do Silver Ring yet. I'm dumb. I thought he was going to do Silver Ring here. He can't do that yet. That actually slows him down a decent amount. That actually... I forgot. Yeah, Mist is in the library. Duh. Fire still has his library card, though. He'll likely use it after Castle Keep, is my guess. So Eldritch actually isn't as far behind as I thought. I thought he was like multiple minutes behind, like 5 minutes behind. He's probably only like 3 minutes behind now. So could be worse. And like I said, being 3 minutes behind means that left side is like the perfect gamble. Wait, was that a Vlad relic? Was that a fucking Vlad relic? At Leapstone? Did I just see a goddamn mother? Okay. Left side is no longer a good idea. We haven't seen the second castle. We haven't seen a single Vlad relic in the second castle in the last 2 tournament matches, not races, matches in the last 4 races. These players have skipped the second castle every time. Granted, one time it was because of a forfeit, but still. It just goes to show that the randomizer is a little bit wacky, a little bit crazy, a little bit, dare I say, random. Eldritch isn't actually in that bad of a position, though, right? I think he's still behind, but not so far behind that it's impossible. Fire also has no amazing endgame weapon as far as I know. He has Mornblade, actually. Never mind, he has Mornblade. Yeah, this is looking a little Jover. How did the prediction roll out this time? Let me check. 80% Fire favor again. Yeah, that makes sense. Fire is a very top competitor. He finished, what, top 3 in the last, like, 2 tournaments that have been hosted for this game? So he's clearly good at the game. I think he was top 3 in both of them. I could be wrong. Mechanically, very sound. There are very few things that, like, take Fire by surprise by any means, so... I could see a lot of people are going to vote. Assuming Fire wins this match, I think it's all fair to say Fire's probably going to win this. He's going to face Jupiter next. I'm not a gamble expert. I'm more of a Garnet coin connoisseur, a investor, a venture capitalist, if you will, of Garnet coin. And I think the sleeper pick, if you want the good odds, is betting on Fire over Jupiter. I still think Jupiter is favored. He is just so insanely good at this game and just every game that he plays. He is built different God Gamer level status. However, Fire has the skills to do it. He genuinely does. And not only that, Fire is also not afraid to throw in gambles when it matters. He won one of the, or he got like top 3 in one of the prelim races where he was basically guaranteed to lose, like basically not even get points for the prelim races by doing a left side gamble. He is not afraid to gamble when it matters. And Jupiter, I think, plays it a little safe often. Like the last couple tournament races where he kind of like he had the potential of not even getting first seed, which would have been an upset for sure in the prelim races, but he clutches it out in the end. He also ends up racing a lot, so that kind of makes up for it. So very interesting. Very interesting. So funny enough, I think Eldritch is going to get glasses first. I think he has the potential to get glasses first, actually. Wait, what? How did this happen? I mean, obviously having missed early helped a lot. So, the only reason I don't think this is an amazing idea, I think getting the Keep Warp first, because Eldritch doesn't have it yet, I'm pretty sure. No, wait. Does Eldritch have the Keep Warp? If Eldritch has the Keep Warp, this is very interesting. If he doesn't have the Keep Warp, how does he get there? Does he backtrack through Alrox's quarters a third time? I feel like the correct play was to get the Keep Warp first and then warp back to Alrox's quarters, right? Because he's going to get the glasses right now. That just feels like a little bit of an oversight to me. That the Keep Warp is like also super important. That might have been the split-second decision that cost him. He had the Alrox Warp, yeah. He already had it. Because the downside is Eldritch is going to get the glasses first by like maybe a minute, but then he has to go to Keep, where Fire, on the other hand, can just warp there. So, and I don't know how Eldritch decides to go to Keep through Fire of Bat, I guess? Through Outer Wall, checks Fire of Bat, goes through... Oh, yeah, because he skipped Fire of Bat. Yeah, that's what he's choosing to do. He's choosing to go through Clock Tower to get there. Oh, yeah. His lead is probably not real because of that then, yeah. Wait, Eldritch only has 31 mana prisms left? You know what? I take it back. 99 was a good decision. He needed them. If this was a seed where like Galamoth had the final Vlad relic, Eldritch 100% would have been finishing this seed with like 3 mana prisms left. That is very funny. He would have needed it to... Yeah, Fire has 38 left, and I think he bought a lot less, too. He didn't buy 99, if I'm remembering correctly. All right, Eldritch, you're going to need to move faster than anyone has ever moved before. I think if you want to stay in this race. They're literally trading places right now. Oh, man, it's going to be close. No, I don't think Eldritch misses the ring of Vlad. I think he's aware enough to do those checks. Because they're right there. And he knows that they're random. He is a guarded OG knower. He understands how the preset works. Because here's the thing. I feel like it would be so much closer if Eldritch had just gotten to Castle Keep. Because then he would have found the Vlad relic on top of that, too. No, he's going this way to go to Castle Keep? Yeah, that's just an oversight then. Yeah. Like, if you're going to do this much backtracking, you should have just gone to Keep in the first place. That was just a last-minute routing mistake that literally cost him the potential to steal. Because I think there was a world where he was actually ahead. Just go Coliseum then. I think you are right. Coliseum would be slightly faster. It's one less area transition, so it's one less loading zone. What's Fire doing? Why is he in the map? Huh? Brother, you got glasses and all 5 Vlad relics, huh? Oh, did he not get the warp either? Oh, shit. Wait a fucking minute. Things just got spicy. Fire forgot the warp? He forgore? Well. Things just got very interesting. Eldritch is going to need to keep it together. Brother, put on the fucking Masamune. Stop trying to spell only the game. You're doing 20 damage for these spells. Use the fucking rune sword. Use something that does big damage. Oh my god. I don't get it. Oh my god. Like, you have the insane damage potential. Oh, and Fire already killed Hippogriff. Uh-oh, it's Jover. It's straight up Jover. Fire still is ahead. Fire caught up. From the one boss fight, Fire caught up. And Eldritch still needs to go out of his way for that relic. Oh, and he drops a Wing Smash. Oh. Rough. He had a lead again, but it just wasn't 100% there. Like his execution on that boss fight actually killed him, and then his movement execution afterwards. But dang, goes to show that the cleaner player, the cleaner execution, does end up with the advantage here. I don't see a world where these players die. They have so much firepower at their disposal that they just need to literally like point whatever weapon they want in the direction of an enemy and they should melt, right? Not use spells, but just a weapon should be enough. Even your fists with like all of the stat buffs that these players have should be more than enough to like even one cycle Dracula. You know what I mean? Fire is not going to fail the one cycle because he has Mournblade. And Fire's movement is like insanely good. He's been playing a lot of glitchless as well as a few other speedrun categories, so he has a lot of practice just moving through the castle in various different ways. Like Eldritch not doing his smooth movement here. Yeah. Cost him a few seconds already. Yeah, starts the boss fight at 09. Eldritch is going to start the boss fight like 13 seconds behind. Okay, he's starting to realize the Masamune is good. Look at those damage numbers. They're so big. 226, that's a big damage number. Fire's gonna need to get hit by an imp and then get hit by a sniper right afterwards. But that's not happening. Very smooth moves from Fire. Doesn't get hit by an imp. Okay. Missed Wing Smash into comboed by Minotaur for like a little while. Could happen. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Eldritch, you can't start your Wing Smash from there? Oh my god! Eldritch, he does it! But Fire's movement's so clean. Very close race, though, all things considered. Honestly, very close race. If I'm Eldritch, I'm not even mad about my performance in the second race. Like, it wasn't even bad. The only check that Eldritch ended up skipping was Fire of Bat, I think, right? He just used his library card and found the mist at a more opportune time, I think. Yeah, I think if Eldritch went to keep first, he would have had the advantage by a little bit. But yeah, Fire, the big issue that Fire had was just not getting the keep warp. If Fire had gotten the keep warp, I think it was Jover no matter what. Yeah, we're looking at about like a 25, 30-second difference now. So just over the course of the second castle, Fire saved about like an extra 10 seconds over Eldritch. Masamune does a lot of damage, but I don't think it does so much more damage compared to what Fire can output with double Covenant Stone and attack potion plus Mournblade. That should be enough to one cycle. Although his attack's only 68, actually. Okay, it's good damage. That should be enough to one cycle, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be close, though. I don't know if Eldritch is confident in the Masamune one cycle with Dracula. It's easy to mess up. I don't think Fire's missing the one cycle, though. That Tetra Spirit is a little bit greedy. I don't think it does anything.
Behold my true form,
This should be a one cycle for Fire, I'm pretty sure. It'll be a slow one cycle, but it should be a one cycle. Unless... You should have bought the Dark Blade! You should have listened to me! You bought the Mormagil! Eldritch, no! He doesn't know how to do the setup! Ah.
Go back whence you came.
Close.
Trouble the soul of my mother no more.
Close. He wasn't going to win either way.
How is it that I've been so defeated?
GG's. Close race, though. Real close one. Wow.
Since you lost the ability to love.
Just a couple things going Eldritch's way differently in that seed, and he could have stole that, for sure.
What profit is it to a man?
I think Fire made a big mistake by not getting the Castle Keep Warp, but Eldritch also had a couple of really good plays, and a couple things went his way. Got a little lucky in a few regards. Much happier with that race, I'm sure. Eldritch is much happier with that showing overall. GG's to these competitors. We have Fire moving on to the quarter finals, I believe.
Theirs is already a hard lot.
Round 2 to face off against Jupiter.
Love you for all of eternity.
Lisa, forgive me.
Was a lot of fun. Was a lot of fun. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Join the live streams, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz, so you can watch these races live as they happen. You can gamble channel points, aka Garnet Coin, on the outcome of these races. It's a lot of fun. Love to see you in the chat. Bye-bye, YouTube. Have a good one. Bye.